If you're not doing this, it's the reason you can't quit marijuana. First thing is not changing your environment. So I see this a lot of times. A lot of people come in, they quit marijuana, and they do it very well. It's like, wow, it's like they've never even smoked before. It's completely out of their lives. All of a sudden, they catch up with an old buddy that they used to smoke with. One night, they go out with some friends that they used to party with. Next thing they know, they come to me going, hey, man, I relapsed. And I'm like, why? And they're like, well, because I saw a friend and just so happened that, they were smoking. And I was like, man, I might as well. Gosh dang it. And so this is a word of caution. If you are struggling to quit marijuana, consider what your environment is and who you're hanging out with. In recovery groups, they say this a lot, is that the first thing to do is change your environment. So for alcohol, for example, that's probably the most common example. They say, okay, don't go by the liquor store anymore. Don't go to the bar where you used to hang out and drink. Stop hanging out with the people you used to go out with every weekend, right? Kind of obvious. Same applies to marijuana. Stop hanging out with the people that you used to smoke weed with. And I guarantee you, you're gonna have a much easier time quitting and a much less likely chance of slipping back and relapsing. When I got clean, the first thing I did is say goodbye to my smoking friends. I saw them maybe for the first time, like 4 or 5 months later, after I knew I was pretty much settled in my sobriety at that point. Maybe you walk by the weed store every time on your way home, or drive by it, or however you get home from work. Stop going that way. Find an alternate route. Maybe it takes an extra 5 minutes. Hey, is that 5 extra minutes worth not smoking weed again? That's the question you got to ask yourself. So the next thing you're not doing that's preventing you from quitting marijuana is not practicing self-care. That word is thrown around a lot these days, so I'm sure a lot of you are kind of sick of it, but there's a lot of truth to it. Self-care, what does that include? It includes fitness, exercise, diet, nutrition, meditation, mental health, sanity, recovery, all that stuff. Making sure you're doing things that are enjoyable and nurturing your soul. All of that is wrapped into self-care. So I've done a lot of videos on each of these different topics and why they're important. Holistically though, I've learned that part of my being happy on a regular basis, and when the days I'm not happy, it's probably because I'm not doing these things, is to practice the self-care. Journaling as well. Making sure that all of these things are in place, that to take place of the marijuana. What isn't self-care is laying on the couch eating Cheetos, binge eating McDonald's, and playing video games. Now, quick caveat, maybe video games is part of your self-care routine. I'm not trying to say that it isn't. A lot of people though will spend hours being high and playing video games when they'd rather be out doing something else that is more productive for themselves. What else isn't self-care? Not exercising, not going to the gym regularly, not getting your fitness in, etc. All of these things, all these little things add up over time to either go positive or negative. And the beauty of recovery is you get to choose, and as well as being an adult, you get to choose what route you take. You can choose to do the little things to make your life way better, or the little things to make your life way worse. You get to decide. So the last thing you aren't doing that is probably keeping you from getting sober from marijuana is having a good support system. This one kind of ties into self-care. I was about to say it, but I'm like, I'll wait for point number 3 here. Support system. Having people that you can go to, a mentor, a guide, a sponsor, somebody that can help guide you throughout your journey. I have a mentor, a sponsor, a coach, whatever you want to call it, in every area of my life. Relationships, finance, recovery, you name it. And the reason why is because it helps save so much time, because they will tell you the mistakes they made so you don't have to. And sometimes they might not know the answer, but they know it didn't work. And if you don't do what they did that didn't work, you're gonna find some potentially great success. Not only that, is we're humans. So we're meant to have relationships in our life. When I was smoking weed, and comment down below if you can relate, I was very isolated. All I wanted to do was hang out and smoke weed. Now, what I really wanted is have awesome relationships and stuff, but I was so consumed and addicted to weed that was just like not even a possibility. Like, yeah, I might as well say I want to fly. So a big motivator for me quitting weed was to have awesome relationships and to be able to experience what it means to be fully human. For me, I think a big part of that is relationships. Again, I was not having that when I was smoking weed, and so it probably perpetuated the cycle. The people that I did have in my support system, per se, were coming back to number 1, people that use marijuana. So their support and their answer for any time I brought up a problem was, hey, smoke some weed, forget about it. Now people are like, okay, now my support system says, okay, what's the root of this? Let's get to work. Let's figure this out. Let's get better. Let's put in the effort to overcome this. And because of that, that's the people I'm surrounding myself with. So I really think it's very key in quitting marijuana, and not only quitting marijuana, but staying sober long term, to have a solid support system. Some ways you can find a support system are through the recovery support groups. As you know, I've said many times on this show, there's a lot of groups out there that you can find that will be able to help guide you on this journey and give you that connection. Maybe it's still even over a computer, but hey, it's still more human connection than otherwise. And then the second thing is to get into coaching. So that is what I am here for. I help people quit marijuana fast and efficiently. If that is something that is of interest to you and you think that I could be able to assist you, then I invite you to schedule a call with me with the link down below. It'll be a very powerful 40-minute intro call where we will dive into your entire life, what got you to where you are today, where you want to go, which is the most important part, so you can have something to work towards, and then how you can get there so one day you don't even have to think about it. So you can have those relationships, so you can have that life worth living. And I promise it's right there for you on the other side of this week. If you like this video, comment below and share anything that you think held you back from quitting marijuana or is holding you back now. We'd love to know. And then also any topics you have that you want me to talk about, please write them as well, and I'll be happy to dive into them. That guys, talk to you soon. Peace.